Prepare yourself for a sleepless night if you dare to indulge in these bone-chilling Home Alone horror stories. Leave behind the comfort of slumber and embrace the terrifying tales that will haunt your every waking moment. It was the eve of my 15th birthday when my parents surprised me with an Xbox, a thrilling gift that came with a newfound sense of freedom. They went above and beyond by setting up a dedicated gaming corner in my room, complete with a sleep monitor. Over the following weeks, I spent countless hours exploring virtual worlds from the comfort of my upstairs sanctuary. On a fateful Saturday night, while I was engaged in an Xbox party chat with two friends from school, my parents were away attending a work convention. The empty house gave me a sense of independence, but it also made every unexpected sound a chilling mystery. During a silent moment in our conversation, a distinct thumping sound came from downstairs. As any kid home alone would understand, my imagination ran wild with the most terrifying possibilities. I quickly turned down the volume and removed one headphone, hoping to recognize the source of the disturbance. The next 5 minutes remained eerily silent until the creepy noise resurfaced. This time I confided in my friends, sharing the unsettling encounter. They suggested I investigate, playfully proposing a break-in. Though nervous, I laughed off their suggestion, promising to explore during our next gaming intermission. When the opportune moment arrived, I cautiously removed my headphones and embarked on the journey downstairs. Each step seemed to amplify my fear, but as I continued, I began to hear faint whispers. Frozen halfway down, I strained to hear what the whispers were saying. Inching closer, I crouched, looking into the living room, only to discover 4 menacing figures dressed entirely in black roaming around. Stunned and unable to process the gravity of the situation, a singular thought consumed me. I had to return to the safety of my room. Tentatively retracing my steps, I tried to walk up the stairs discreetly. Fate, however, had other plans. A single step gave me away with a resounding creak, shattering the silence that filled the house. There was no doubt they'd heard it. I raced back to my room, quickly placed my headset on, and asked my friends to call the police. Their confused voices demanded an explanation, and their concern was evident. Lacking the luxury of time, I urged them to act swiftly, throwing my headset on the desk. Locking my bedroom door seemed too conspicuous, yet I still secured it before slipping into the bathroom further down the hallway. Concealed in darkness, I left the door slightly open. Anxiously, I listened as the sound of multiple boots made their way up the stairs, growing louder with each passing second. They approached my room, relentlessly pounding on the door with chilling determination. Threatening voices pierced the air, demanding that I open the door if I wished to avoid severe consequences. Fear consumed me entirely, leaving me paralyzed with an uneasy feeling. Finding a surge of courage, I lunged towards the bathroom window, hoping to escape the encroaching terror. My movements, however, gave me away, alerting the intruders who closed in on my location. Just as the bathroom door swung fully open, I went headfirst through the narrow opening. My landing was far from graceful, with my neck absorbing the impact, but I had enough strength to look back at the bathroom window. A shadowy figure stood motionless, their gaze locked with mine. The backyard door slid open, revealing 3 menacing figures sprinting towards me. Desperately attempting to regain my footing, I struggled to rise. Time wasn't on my side. They grabbed me, yanking me back toward the house. Yet, in the distance, a faint wail of police sirens offered a glimmer of hope. Startled, the assailants looked at each other before dashing towards the backyard fence and their escape route. They vanished into the night, leaving no trace of their existence. Moments later, the police arrived, converging on the scene. I directed them towards the escape route pursued by the 3 perpetrators who eluded safety. While officers pursued the fugitives, one remained by my side, ensuring my safety. In the subsequent investigation, only one intruder was apprehended within the house. The other 3 vanished into the shadows, eluding capture. Among the chilling remains discovered were 4 knives and some loaded pistols, dark clues to their sinister intentions. As the police probed for answers, a pair of headlights pierced the darkness pulling into the driveway. To my profound gratitude, my 2 friends, the very ones I'd shared that fateful Xbox chat with, arrived on their bicycles. Their timely intervention in calling the authorities undoubtedly saved my life. To this day, I express boundless gratitude to my friends for their unwavering support during that harrowing ordeal. Their swift action prevented a tragedy from unfolding. It was a scorching summer day when I was just 10, with my little brother, who was 7, by my side. We were outside, immersed in playful games with the neighbourhood kids. But as the sun bid farewell, we knew it was time to head home. Our parents occasionally went out to different restaurants, leaving us alone once a week. They usually informed us in advance, but sometimes, caught up in our games, they simply leave a note on the kitchen counter. So, upon arriving home to an empty house, we assumed that they'd done just that. My brother and I settled in the living room, the TV casting its familiar glow. Time passed and darkness filled the world outside. Suddenly a jarring sound shattered the tranquility. The doorbell rang, accompanied by an unsettling knock. Perplexed, I initially thought it might be our parents returning, but it was unusual for them to use the front door, let alone not have a key. The odds of the garage opener malfunctioning and them forgetting their key were exceedingly slim. However, I couldn't dismiss the possibility entirely. With cautious steps, I ventured toward the front door, determined to discover the visitor's identity. As I approached, a man's voice echoed through the door, claiming to be a seller of Girl Scout cookies. The timing of it all left me puzzled. I peered through the peephole, expecting to see a father accompanied by his daughter, cookies in hand. To my alarm, there stood a lone man without any cookies. His hand reached for the doorknob, and my heart sank as I realised we'd forgotten to lock the door. Panic surged through me, and in haste, I swiftly turned the deadlock, its resounding click betraying my presence within. There was no doubt he heard it, and now he knew someone was inside. After a minute, I cautiously glanced through the peephole once more. The man had positioned himself to peer through our living room window. Fixated on my oblivious brother, at his side, I discerned a menacing gun holster sending shivers down my spine. Hastily, I rushed back to the living room, pulling the blind shut. I suggested to my brother that we enjoy some ice cream in the basement, hoping to keep him away from the windows. I couldn't bear the thought of him realising the danger that lurked outside. Agreeing with my plan, we made our way downstairs and I quietly secured the basement door behind us. While enjoying our ice cream, I could faintly hear the familiar hum of the garage door opening, signalling our parents' return. Later, when my brother wasn't present, I told the chilling events to our horrified parents, who wasted no time in contacting the police. The authorities arrived promptly and swiftly inspected our home. One of their initial discoveries sent shivers down our spines. The front door lock had been tampered with, confirming the intruder's malicious intent. What his exact plan was, we could only speculate, and the police were just as uncertain. To this day, the man remains unidentified, and my younger brother remains blissfully unaware of the terrifying incident that unfolded in our midst. Prepare yourselves for the chilling tale that awaits in story number 3, but beware, only the bravest souls dare venture further. If you find yourself trembling with delight and hunger for more bone-chilling tales, consider subscribing to this channel of horrors. Join us, for there's no escape from the captivating darkness that awaits those who dare stay subscribed. When I was a teenager, my family lived in a secluded farm in the middle of nowhere. Our farmhouse sat at the end of a dirt road, adding to the feeling of isolation. It was one eerie night just before midnight, and I found myself home alone. I sat on the couch in our living room, watching a movie, accompanied by Bear, our loyal old dog. Bear wasn't the most active pup due to his age, but he could sit through an entire film without moving. He lay still by my side. During a quiet moment in the movie, Bear's ear pricked up and he abruptly turned his head. Curiosity struck me and I muted the TV, straining my ears for any sound. Yet I heard nothing. Bear, however, remained fixated on something near the front door of our house. Didn't make sense. Who could be at our door, considering how out of the way our house was? We rarely had unexpected visitors in this bleak place. I shrugged it off, assuming it was probably just an animal, and resumed the movie, raising the volume. But then Bear started growling quietly, his attention still directed at the front door. This dog had only growled twice in his entire life. So at that moment, I knew I had to investigate. I grabbed one of the firearms we had in the house and cautiously approached the front door. As I opened it, nothing caught my eye, so I stepped outside. I ventured about 30 yards from the front porch and peered into the darkness of the night, but all I saw was an abyss of black emptiness. Turning back, I took a step toward the house, but froze abruptly. There, perched on the edge of the deck, was a man curled up, huddled in the fetal position as if trying to hide. My mind raced, unsure of my next move. I couldn't bring myself to walk right up to this mysterious stranger. So, with utmost care, I circled around to the back door, which happened to be unlocked, as we never really worried about such things in our remote haven. As soon as I stepped inside, I hurried to lock the front door and secure all the windows and other doors around the house. Panic rising within me, I dialed the police and waited anxiously for their arrival. Unfortunately, it took them a painstaking 30 minutes to show up. In the meantime, I combed through the entire property, searching for any trace of the intruder, but found nothing. It provided some relief, and a part of me began to wonder if I'd imagined the whole encounter. When the police finally left, I decided it was best to put the ordeal behind me and get some rest. The morning arrived and I headed down to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. As I reached for a knife to cut some fruit, I noticed that one of them was missing. Confusion washed over me as I was certain it had been there the night before. An unsettling feeling crept up my spine, compelling me to call the police once more. 2 officers promptly arrived, and this time I requested that they search inside the house. I stood outside, filled with unease, while they carried out their search. After a few tense minutes, the officers emerged from the house with an elderly, gaunt-looking man. A brief struggle ensued before they managed to restrain him. He'd been clutching a knife tightly in both hands, the very same one missing from my kitchen, and now they escorted him away in handcuffs. To my horror, it turned out to be the same man who had been lurking outside the night before. I recounted the entire story to the police, and they concluded that he must have sneaked in through the front door during the time I circled around to the back. The fact that they'd taken the knife was deeply unsettling, indicating malicious intent. What haunts me to this day is the thought of what might have occurred had the intruder searched the house that night and discovered me sleeping defenselessly. Prepare yourself for a spine-tingling realization that surpasses the horrors you've just encountered. Picture a world where the void of our captivating videos haunts your existence. Brace yourself for the chilling unknown that awaits those who dare to sever the connection to our mesmerizing content.